What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to more Blessed Crypto. In today's video we are going to be having another look at Ethereum Eth to see if we can determine what is going on with the price. If you guys do appreciate the content, please do consider subscribing to the channel, give it a thumbs up and make sure you hit the notifications bell for when I'm uploading future content. And with that, let's get straight into it. So Eth has really kind of just been going sideways since I have been on holiday. We are struggling to get above this trend line that I have put on the chart. The price that we're struggling to get above is that 1920 level. We have faked out above it once, faked out above it twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and 6 times. We are struggling to get above that level, and maybe we do need to get a bit more of a retracement before we can finally break out of this range. Now, if we are going to be focusing on further upside, all right, we are still looking at this as a wave 1. We came down in a wave 2. We did another 1-2. We have done another 1-2, and we have another potential 1-2. Now, for every 1-2 that is on the chart, we should get a 3, a 4, and a 5, which would extend Ethereum up further. Now, Ethereum did not do a lower low like Bitcoin did, which means that we have an extra 1-2 pattern on to the chart, which would mean that it would eventually extend higher than Bitcoin. Now, or have an extra wave, I should say, other than Bitcoin. Now, looking at this chart, okay, we have literally just been finding this trend line as support on multiple occasions, and we even came back down to test it again. And I did let you guys know I was getting into a long trade because that trend line was actually moving alongside the 200-day moving average, and technically that would have been a really good area to have got into a trade. And as you guys were aware, I did let you guys know on Twitter I was getting into that trade, and that was a pretty amazing move to the upside. I didn't sell at the high, but I have now come out of that position in profit, so I am happy about that. Now the question really is, okay, now before I go into the micro, are we really going to come back down to test this trend line for the 6th time and actually bounce from it again? It would, in my opinion, be too easy for that to actually happen. And maybe people will start to front run this, or maybe we will actually break this trend line to the downside, scare everyone out of the market before we do continue to the upside. Now, I'm going to zoom in on this 1-2 pattern here for you guys now. We're going to have a little bit of a discussion where we could be potentially looking at finding support. Now, it is extremely messy and extremely choppy, okay? But we can count 5 waves to the upside. We have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4. Now, where it gets a little bit messy is, did the wave 5 finish here, or did the wave 5 finish here? I'm undecided of that at the moment, and I have drawn the fibs here from this high here, okay, rather than this high here. And I'm potentially looking at it as an overshooting wave B. It could turn out to be a WXY, but for now I'm leaving it as a wave B. And the reason for that is if I draw the fibs from this high here down to the bottom of this here, and I get my overshooting wave B, you can perfectly see that we came up to the 138 fib, which is quite a usual, or the last kind of resort for an overshooting wave B. Usually an overshooting wave B will not go above the 138 fib, and we came up to that area and then we collapsed back down from that area. So I am kind of leaning towards the wave 5 finishing here, and this is the wave 1 that has actually finished at this high, and then we've had an overshooting wave B, and then a wave C, which is looking like it could be playing out as an ending diagonal. Now, I'm not going to stress myself out too much in putting waves onto the chart, because that will kind of lead you to think that potentially we could be getting another low, and we may not. We could potentially go up from here. Now, if I draw or get the 382 fib out, you can actually see that we came down to the 382 fib and we have found that as support. If we lose the 50-day moving average, which we are currently testing at the moment, I would then say, okay, next fib we could be potentially looking at finding support is going to be the 50% at 1802. And if we lose that, maybe we are coming down to the 618 fib again, which would also come in line with that 200-day moving average coming in at 1761. And we also have this trend line that could be potentially acting as support again. If we lose that, we need to hold 1700. If we end up losing the 1700, the 786 fib level, and we lose this trend line and do something like this, where we come back down and then we come up for a retest and you see a bearish reaction, we could be potentially looking at breaking down. Now, there is still a potential that we could be looking at all of this as an A wave down, this as a B wave, and then we could be looking at coming all the way back down. And as long as we still hold 1534, we can rally from there. We just look at this as a B wave. We're coming down in a C wave, but as long as that 1534 holds, we can focus on further upside. If we lose that 1534, we would potentially start looking for more bearish levels that we could be potentially going to, because we would be breaking the bullish structure. So those are the kind of the key levels that we would need to hold. I am definitely going to be getting into a trade if we do come down a little bit lower, but I want to make you guys aware that technically we could go up from here. Okay, already we don't necessarily need to get one more low. Now, if I take the fibs from this high here down to the low, and we are looking at this as an overshooting wave B, okay, we have come down to the 1272 fib at 1839. The next level would be the 1.618 fib coming in at 1787, which also comes in around that 618 fib at 1761 and the 50% fib level. So it's kind of in between that, and we also have that 200-day moving average. So for me, if we do come lower, I would be getting into a potential long position from this 50% fib level down to that 618 fib, and maybe just a little bit below that trend line. I would then start thinking about laddering in some long positions in this general area, okay? But we also have to be aware, that was the wrong one, sorry about that. We also have to be aware that if I am looking at the fifth wave as finishing up here, we could be potentially looking at drawing the fibs, so just to kind of make you guys aware, up to the top, which would actually drag the fib levels up and drag the support levels up as well. So then we would be looking at the first area of finding support would be the 50% fib at 1829 or the 618 fib at 1781. So it's difficult to say exactly where we are going to find support. And for me, I would be laddering in positions. I'm not going to go crazy with the leverage, but I would be looking at getting into a trade between, I'm going to just, obviously this is no financial advice, I'm going to be laddering in long positions from 1702 all the way up to 1802. Okay, if we come lower, great, I'll get some of my position filled. But obviously, if we do end up losing that 1702 level, this would be the area that I would cut my trade if we lose the 1700 level. All right, so I don't think there's really much else to say at the moment. you know, it is kind of a bit difficult because we're not sure where this wave 5 to complete this wave 1 actually finished. I am more inclined, like I said, to look at the wave 5 finishing here with an overshooting wave B, and we could not necessarily be looking at coming much lower. We could be looking at a flat pattern. So for now, I'm just going to kind of leave it like this. I'm going to kind of leave the door open to potentially look at us potentially going up from here already. But I wouldn't be getting into a trade unless we do come back down into this area down here that I've just spoken to you guys about. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Please do consider subscribing to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you hit the notifications bell when I'm uploading future content. And with that, take care, stay blessed.